Okay, good. We were here, and this was. Remember, we were talking about the quality. I closed the class talking about ISO, which for now they are very loose terms because this is an introductory course, but eventually you will start studying deeper on those specific constructs. So you have to be aware of those, and that's the reason this is so fast and with so many concepts, and it's kind of busy and messy, but you have to know these things. Okay, now today we will start talking about, we will finish talking about products. We will start talking about branding. How do you brand a marketing offering you have in the market? And towards the end, we will talk a little bit about valuation. Just we are not going to do the calculations. The calculations are really straightforward. Net present values, essentially. But we are not going to talk about that. We will just go talking about just some definitions. I'm sorry about the Zoom meeting. My internet is cutting in and out, and I'm having trouble hearing whatever. Thank you for your time. Tiffany is not here anymore. Okay, I don't know why. But it's okay. Eventually, she will hear the recording. Okay, the product features. Those are the tools you have to differentiate your marketing offering. That's pretty much it. That's the thing. That's the reason somebody will look for you. So that's the only way, or the most common way to differentiate something. Just remember something. Just think about this. People not necessarily know how to use the marketing offering you have in the market. So you have to educate them, and you have to grab their attention. And most probably the only way to grab somebody's attention is by physical means, by presenting the thing in such a way that people get interested on your marketing offering. And we are talking about design, the product design, the style of the product. Of course, this is more, it's not about you. This is about the designer of the marketing offering. It's more about the how you want to present it to the customer. And that is where all this crazy part starts with the entrepreneurs. They don't know how to design the product, how to present the product. So the normal way to do this is you go with a marketing researcher, or you do the marketing research, go to the chapter of marketing research, run the qualitative study. From there, try to figure out which are the features they are suggesting you to put in the product. From there, you run the quantitative study, read the chapter, try to figure out how to do it. Eventually, you may want to increase your skills to do that. That's the reason you are taking statistics in your bachelor's, because you have to know how to deal with the statistics. And once you do that, so now you tell the designer, if you can do it by yourselves, good. If you can't, you go with a designer. You don't have money to pay a designer, go with a design student of the design, and ask the student, please, could you please help me with a marketing proposal for this? How should this be molded? So I have a physical product. Now let's jump to the more intellectual, difficult part of marketing. One of the most difficult, most challenging parts. Branding. Let's assume you already have something designed, something that just works. It just works. This thing helps you to connect a microphone to a sound processor. This is I think it's mobile. No, it's not mobile. I think it's Rode, the Australian brand. This is like $10, this piece of metal. This thing looks like the same thing. Okay, Chinese, 70 cents. These guys came with their design. They went to a designer and asked, how can we do it in the most comfortable way, easy to carry, to come here and there. And this is to connect, I think it's a 3.5 millimeter connection to the classical microphone connection, as this one too. One of the main disadvantages of sending your stuff to be produced in China is that you have to produce the footprints. And when you provide the footprints, of course, you are giving them all the design, or everything, all the know-how. They will do it for you for a cheaper price. The labor will be cheaper, but of course they have cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters who can also produce the knockoff that will go to the market and will directly compete with your marketing offering in Amazon. You see. So how can you protect from that? Well, you have branding. When you go for branding, when you create a brand, it's a legal permit for you and only you to exploit a brand. It's very straightforward. You want to do the exploitation of something you invented, register the brand, and under the brand, the design. Of course, they still can get along with whatever you said. Look, this is the thing. You can see it. You can see it. There are some lines here that is kind of distinguished by the brand. Well, same thing, same lines, different size is the only difference. With that, they are just getting rid of all the regulations about the copyrights that belong to this brand. They changed the design. How? They made it just shorter. Does that affect functionality? No, it's not. It's the same thing. Same thing. The big difference is that one has the actual copyrights to produce that specific connector. Always you have those risks. But what about if you don't share the copyrights? You don't share the footprints. They will have to figure out whatever marketing offering you are coming up with. And meanwhile, if you don't share the footprints and you have the brand, well, guess what? You have the only rights for the exploitation of the thing you came up with, you invented. And that is the reason, one of the main reasons brands are so important. Now, what is a brand? It's a name, a term, a sign, a symbol, a design, a combination of those things that identifies the maker or seller of a product or a service. So that brand is kind of religious thing. You can't avoid it. Once you have it legally, it's international. You can't avoid it. Very quick, funny story. I had opportunity to be the project manager for marketing research for this brand, Anheuser-Busch. Probably you know some of the brands of Anheuser-Busch. These guys produce beers, essentially beers, okay? And they produce both Budweiser. So one day, this is real thing, around 2003, like 3, 4 guys, well dressed. This is somebody who saw it that gave me the story, okay? They went to Anheuser-Busch I think I don't remember exactly the city. They are in the Midwest. Um, I just forgot the name of the place where they had their corporate offices. But 3 guys went to their corporate offices. So these guys went looking for the CEO, and the CEO said, "Well, what? Well, I'm very busy. But where are you coming from? We are coming from Czechoslovakia, right? Okay. So what about if you pass with the director of public relations, and he will be able to talk to you?" These guys wait for some time for the director of public relations. They were received in the corporate offices, and it was the director of both was the Anheuser-Busch, the owners of Budweiser. They received the guys there, and they told him, we are here to asking an initial $20 billion check. You can do it check as a check, but eventually we have to figure out how you will start paying us. So the guy, the public relations, just laughed crazily, and he said, "Okay, you want 20 billion? 20 billion. Okay, why you want 20 billion? Just amuse me." "Well, buddy, you are using your brand is Budweiser, something like that." Yes, it's Budweiser. We are so well known. Yes, no, you are not that well known. You are not well known, and you don't know Budweiser. And one of them told the guy, "Let me clue you in. Budweiser is a small town in Czechoslovakia. We have the rights of origin. Only we can produce beers. Cheater." So this guy said, "No, no, no. There is no rule of origin. Rule of origin means this. Some counties produce something very special, very specific. And so the counties or the cities go for their own brand. And the brand is, for example, tequila. Tequila is not a brand. It's a statement telling you whatever you are going to drink was produced in the town of Tequila, Guadalajara, Mexico. It's not a brand. That's the destination of our origin, the name of the origin of the thing is the brand of the place. And they successfully could register for the town of Budweiser the production of beer. So they said, "Man, I don't think so. The beer is made everywhere." Well, not the beer from Budweiser. The beer from Budweiser is made by us. And you cheaters are not us. Short story, long story short, Budweiser was sold to InBev, the people from Belgium and Brazil, next year. They escaped. And they got an agreement where they said, okay, Budweiser, if you are in Europe, it will be produced in the town of Budweiser. But if you are in the US, Budweiser will be produced by Anheuser-Busch. After a lot of legal discussions, they agreed with that. It was the next year when Budweiser was sold to the Brazilians and the people from Belgium. Each time you drink a Budweiser, is actually the owners are not Americans. Used to be Americans for 100, I don't know how many years. Destination of origin. That's a big thing in about branding. Now, when you give a brand something, you can build stories around that. You can have unique characteristics that are now already protected, and the brands will help you to you know to segment the markets, because if there are some brands already in place, you will be able to figure out who's competing in which places of the market. Now, a brand will always have a labeling and the logos. The logos are so important that companies pay billions of dollars to develop the right logos. The people in design that today you guys are in the bachelors in design, I know the part of art is very attractive and you want to do that the rest of your life, some of you. But if you want to bring some food to your tables, set aside one part of your working day to develop logos, to develop corporate identity projects. So you can charge for them, and the rest of the day, if you want to, just do your stuff, your art, so all whatever you like to do. The brand will help you, the labeling and the logos. The label will help you to identify the product, the brand, to describe what is inside of that, and to promote your marketing offering. Watch out, there are specific, strict rules on the labels. Very specific, strict rules. But there are some tricks. I don't remember how you call it, the sugar in the chemical component, the chemical name of sugar. I will tell you later. But if you look at the small packages, small, when you go to take coffee and they ask you, what do you want, sugar or you want stevia? Go to Walmart, look at these small envelopes of stevia. Look at the contents. In most of the cases, the component number one, they will put you the components of something in the food. Those are the regulations. The first component is the most prevalent chemical compound inside of whatever you are buying. When you buy these stevia small envelopes, you will see the first component will be sugar. How do you call it? I don't remember. And if you go down, the last one will be stevia 2%. That means 2% of all the contents will be stevia. And the rest, most of the rest, will be sugar. And you don't know that. So, but that's a very, very unfair, mercantile practice. Ideally, you put all your ingredients, try not to cheat the customer, and so the customer will give you the will be grateful if you do that. Now, you have some, the label has been already been affected because the labels in the products always have to fulfill some legal requirements, and those legal requirements are, for example, one of them is now you have to include the price per unit. So how you are selling by pound, by grams, by liters, by gallons, how much is the price per each unit. So that's the reason you go to Walmart, you see the price, and on the side you will see price per gallon or per gram or uh, per inch, all the prices per unit. Okay, now also you are expected to provide an expected shelf life. You have to tell the people when is it going to be due. And also, you have now to include the nutritional values. However, producers are still providing deceiving measures. So not because the label tells you is will have these components, believe that. Don't think that. There is something I don't like in Canada, in some parts in Canada, not all Canada, in some parts of Canada, is you go, you like this jacket, you think it's a leather jacket. If the jacket doesn't tell you leather jacket, is not leather. If the label doesn't tell you it doesn't have sugar or it does have sugar. So you are supposedly in some parts of Canada, you have to be that smart that you can't suppose anything. You have to 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 know that if it's not telling you it's leather, it's not leather. You have to assume that. I don't like that. In normally in many places in the US, you don't have to say that. Not only in the US, in Europe as well, in Latin America as well. Okay, product line. This is where it starts a little messy, but just pay attention. It's easy. It's easy. Okay, product line. What is a product line? Well, you have a bunch of uh, bunch of marketing offerings, and you just provide an arrangement of your product lines. So let me share. Let me show you probably what is that? What is it? Okay, you should be only looking at my yes. So if you're looking for a vehicle, let me go through this example very fast and I will come back. So you have cars, you have trucks, you have sports cars, and you have electric cars, right? Each of them is aligned. Each of them is aligned. So the cars, you have 5 marketing offerings, trucks, you have 3 marketing offerings, sport cars, you have 2 marketing offerings, and you have only 1 marketing offering for Nissan Leaf, which is their electric option. Now, cars, product line, this is the product line. Line length, 5 marketing offerings. Product line filling, putting inside something. So they had the Versa, Central, Ultima, Maxima, Leaf, and probably if you want to fill it more, well, probably you will include a new one. Product line stretching. When you go beyond that, and you are filling with more marketing offerings, but probably now it will include a kind of a Jeep offering because it's a weird combination of a sports car or it's like kind of an SUV, but it's more car. So you include it in the cars, in your line of cars. That's stretching the line. Now, you can, let's assume that these are kind of not the cheapest options, right? You have cheaper and you have more expensive. So you can go stretch downwards and create a new, the cheapest version of these cars. Or you can go upwards and create a much more expensive uh, product line, which in the case of Altima, you can, from a certain point of view, some marketing offerings from Infinity are exactly that, are the stretching upward of Nissan. Let me go, okay. I don't know if I want to go, oh yes, a new sharing. Yes, it will be a kind of a little bit messy, but it will be okay. Here. So it's a product of products, it's a group of products that are closely related because they function in a similar way. Easy peasy. You have to decide. Let's assume you have those 5 cars. What would you do? Go upwards, go downwards, stretch the line. What would you do? Just think about it. You have those cars. Many of you already have a car. Go back to the year of your car, open the website of this car maker, look at the marketing offerings in the line of cars, and now that you have the experience with the car, think, what would you have done? Would you have stretched the line, bring up new marketing offering? How the thing is about money. Remember, just how to make more money. Now, becomes a mess. You have product mix decisions. You have lines of products. Okay, how are you going to mix? Not to mix. Which kind of mix strategy you will follow? In the case of Nissan, okay, the mix is you have cars, trucks, sports cars, electric cars, and this thing Nismo, which looks kind of nice. Don't allow. I don't know. Let's go to another marketing offering. Okay, shampoos. These are shampoos. Which lines do you have? Well, you have whole blends. It's in the label. Look, whole blends. And you have this Fructis. And if you look at the marketing offerings, you have mainly whole blends and Fructis. These are shampoos. And apparently they went, they had like huge marketing lines, and each of those lines with several marketing offerings. It's crazy. How can you educate a customer with something like this? At least with a Nissan, when you go to Nissan, you tell the guy will tell you, we have 5 cars, just pick one. If you go, it happened, I told you, I have like many sisters, and the experience has been painful. When, oh, I have to go to Walmart. Let's go to Walmart. You can't say no because I don't know. So you go to the sister with the sister, and you have this nightmare. You have these huge marketplace full of these marketing offerings, and they have to decide for one. So you spend like 40 minutes there looking at all the marketing offerings, and you say, "Oh my God, what?" And you can run. No, if it's your sister, you can run. You have to be there because you have to be loyal. But look, let me go back to here. You have width, which is the number of product lines the company carries. So in the case of Nissan, there are like 4. The case of Garnier, we just identified 2. However, the product mix length refers to the total number of items the company carries within its product lines. So in the case of Nissan with the cars, the line of cars, they only have 5 marketing offerings. Whereas with Garnier, oh my God, it's really painful. They are like many, 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 and they do it in that way because they are refreshing their marketing offerings. So they are all times they are reinventing themselves. As it happens with McDonald's. McDonald's is an amazing company as a corporation because all the time they are changing the menu all the time. They are reinventing themselves all the time. They have so deep knowledge of the market that they are able to do that, reinventing all the time. What about the depth? The depth is refers to how deeper you want to go in that marketing offering. For example, I want a Versa. Okay, Versa sports or the normal option with the air conditioning, without air conditioning, with all the sports package, without the sport package, and you go down, 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 down. So that in that sense, that's the depth of the marketing offering. Now, the product mix consistency. It refers to how closely related the various product lines are in end use, in production requirements, and distribution channels, and in some other way, which means you are producing cars, okay? You are producing cars, you have this SUV from Nissan, you are producing the SUV from Nissan. The most, probably you don't know this, but one of the most important parts of any car is the platform. Actually, one of the most guarded industrial secrets in the automotive industry is about the platforms where you build the whole car up. That platform has to be flexible, has to be very strong, has to be very nimble. The minimum number of spots where you put together the pieces is kind of it's just an art, just the platforms. Well, the SUVs of any brand, most of the cases, will share the platform of the regular cars. The platform will be the same. So next time you see an SUV from a Honda, and you see parking on the side of that US SUV from Honda, the Honda car, and you will say, oh, those are the same size. They don't look like, but actually they are the same size. It's because they are sharing the same platform. Because Honda wants to have consistency in their product mix, such a way that you can change the product line very fast. Now, sorry, it's not this one. We will change now towards a completely new topic. For that, I have to show you something. We are going towards services. The part I don't like of this teaching this class is that you can't go deeper, and there is a word inside of each of these constructs. It's here. Okay, it's this one, yes. So we were talking about Nissan. Top of your mind. Top of your mind is what comes to your mind first thing. Top of your mind. Is Nissan good or bad? What do you think? Anyone? Good or bad? Come on, guys. So nobody wants to talk? Is somebody there?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, Nissan is good or bad? You don't want to hurt feelings or something? Come on, nobody? Okay, you don't want to answer. I will give you the answer. Some years ago, they hired this guy. Not them. They decided that indirectly they were hiring this guy. This is Carlos Gauche. This guy went to École Polytechnique in France. In France, if you are a bad student, you go to the universities. With a very few exceptions, like the University of Paris. But in general, if you are not a good student, you go to the university. If you are a good student, you go to something called a Grande École. Grande École means big school. One of the big, it's like an association of the best schools at the university level are the big schools, not the universities. And one of the big schools is La École Polytechnique, Polytechnical Institute of France. This guy went there, studied engineering. He started working in Michelin. He went to Renault, a nice. What they have is they have really beautiful cars. He started working for Renault, and well, actually, he went and he came up, and he became the CEO. I don't remember the year. He became the CEO. Nissan was in the middle of a broke, because on one side they had Honda, they are Japanese. On the other side they had Toyota, and on the other side they had Mitsubishi and the rest of the car makers, Japanese car makers, all of them with high quality. So they decided to merge, to come up with a joint venture with Renault in France, and they became one company. And Carlos Gauche was the kind of like the big shot inside of both companies. Last year it was discovered he was swindling money from, taking money from the companies. So he ran away. He went to Lebanon. He's a Lebanese, and he hasn't been catched. He hasn't been caught to be presented towards with the authorities. But now, in those years, Nissan had a couple of problems. Now you can tell why. Let me go to something. This is the University of Michigan. You go to Google. If you have doubts, you go to Google, look for University of Michigan Customer Satisfaction Index. This is kind of like 60 years. These people from the University of Michigan, they have been producing this thing like for 60 years. So go for benchmarks by industry. Look the automobiles. Can you see this? Can you see the new screen or not?
Yeah.
benchmarks by company. Can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can.
So if you go down, this is, the question is, how satisfied are you with your brand? That's straightforward. If you go down, 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 it's painfully down. Start looking for Nissan, and Nissan is here. These are arranged by year. So in this year, Nissan is in this place. The top is Toyota, Mercedes, Toyota again, Ram, Fiat Chrysler. This is very surprising. Not that surprising. They stopped producing cars. So they should be good now, right? Cadillac, Volkswagen, Subaru, Infiniti, the expensive lines of Nissan, Honda. But if you go to Nissan, it's down, down, down. And you can pull it by years. So I think it was 2006, 7, when it was given to Bosch. You can tell when Nissan was given to Renault, because they were on the top segment in satisfaction. Okay, now let's go back to class, to the chapter. Stop. Okay, why I'm telling you this? Because the customer satisfaction is built not only by the characteristics of the product. Actually, they are also as important as the characteristics of the product is the service you will deliver with the product. Is as important as the product itself. Okay, let's talk only about services for now. You have, what kind of service industries do you have? You have government, private, not for profit, and business organizations. That's very easy. But it's easier to say than to do. What is a service? A service is something you are selling, which is intangible, is going to have a lot of variation. It will depend who's serving you, is inseparable. It cannot be separated from whoever is giving you the service, and is perishable. You consume it, goes away. It goes away. It's not as a product. A product can last for a long while. It's desired to be a long-lasting thing. Now, what can you do? If you are producing services, okay, well, you have to figure out how are you going to produce the services, and you have to consider some important aspects. The service profit chain. How do you make money from the service? How are you going to promote internally? How you are going to promote externally? This is very important. How you are going to promote internally. That means you have salesmen, you have saleswomen who will be providing the service. So you have to tell them to have an acceptable behavior, to deliver when they have to deliver. And it becomes pretty complex. Now you have to produce the in the service profit chain. You have to produce internal service quality. That means you have to be able to, regardless who's coming to your restaurant, your employees are able to produce superior service. And that means you have to be very careful. You will select. You have to be very careful which standards you establish, who you will be training, who will be the trainer, how's the environment, the work environment is good, is bad. It's very complex. Having a restaurant is a nightmare because you have to take care of your employees. That's the first step. If you have a clinic, you have to take care of your nurses, of your doctors. That's the first step. Okay? So yes, in the case of the products, you have to figure out the design, the labels, all the copyrights, the legal parts, the marketing research. Here also you have to run marketing research, but now there is an internal component. How satisfied are your employees? How can you define what a good service is? You have to define that. And you have also to define how much money you want to make. You are paying this amount of salaries and fixed cost and variable cost. So how much are you going to make? You have to figure out that and establish a regular standard, an acceptable standard. If you are planning, as you know, I know, all of you know, you have been in a bar where you heard that the owner doesn't share with employees the tips. What will happen with the waitress or the waiter? Well, the service will suck. And who will suffer? Not the customer. The customer will go to another bar. It will be your business. You will be going down as many. It's a kind of a triad. It's a triangle. Some of you will take this class of linear algebra. In linear algebra, you will figure out when you do your exercises of vectors and matrices, you will figure out that there is a point where a 4-feet chair becomes unbalanced, becomes unbalanced, doesn't put all the 4 feet on the ground. And that's you can figure out always is kind of a triangle. The 3-point support will be kind of optimal, and it repeats that linear algebra basic exercise you do repeats in marketing as well. You have the employee, the company, and the customers. The employees, the company, and the customers, and you have to balance. You have to balance. So now you have to sell. When you are producing a service, you have to sell internally, externally, and you have to have this interactive marketing. Internally is just try to figure out how your employee is just happy. That in that way, the interaction between the buyer and the seller will be positive. And if you are planning to micromanagement, that's a big mistake because they will feel pressed and it's not going to work. There are 2 major marketing tasks that you will accomplish with that. If you can train well your employees, you will be able to differentiate your service, your quality, and the productivity of your employees. That is how important is to have a good training program in the company established. It's kind of one of the top things when you are working with in a service industry. Now, to be able to differentiate, you want, like in ISO, there is an ISO for services. That means always we do this thing in the same way, in the same way. So you can differentiate yourself by always providing the same service. Remember, watch that movie I recommended you before of the, I don't remember the movie of McDonald's. It's Michael Keaton. If you look at in imdb.com, type Michael Keaton and he will, probably 2017, 16, the movie of McDonald's. Watch that movie. His main obsession was service should be the same anywhere. Two pickles, not four pickles, two pickles. Now, there is a big issue, the big problem in all this, big problem, the service quality. You don't know what is the service quality. It's very hard to define. So what you do is just ask the customer, what do you think the service quality is? So that would help you to figure out also service recovery. Service recovery means, in your book, means how much money I'm doing in such a way that is justified. I am in the market. However, always there are many pressures, many pressures. And one of the main pressures is on who are you hiring, who are you training, and which quantity and quality you have to provide to have your customer happy. One of the main problems in Nissan when this guy came, Nissan followed the standards from Renault in France, and they came with their idea of planned obsolescence. So our cars, you have to change our car each 5 years. And they didn't think that the car is something that many people want them to last more time. So some of the, for example, the suspension, I think is the name, some parts of the suspension of the car that gives amortiguation to the whole thing, to the whole marketing offering. You have the wheels and you are in the car and the car bounces, and it bounces softly thanks to that amortiguation system. Well, many parts of the Renault are made out of plastic. So you say, come on, a plastic part is sustaining me and the thing. So they have several problems in past years of Renault with their suspensions. And they inherited the same mistake to Nissan. So in Nissan, when it came to the US, everybody was complaining because not everywhere you have beautiful roads, not everywhere. So you fell in a hole, your suspension broke, and you started complaining. So Nissan couldn't figure out what service was. And their new CEO never lived in the US and never got any influence from how to produce cars from the US, in the US. Normal. He miserably made Nissan to fail in the US. Miserably. Very fast. Okay, the decisions you have to take. You have your brand. Which will be the positioning? Which will be the name? How are we going to sponsor it? That means it's going to be the brand you are producing, somebody sells brand. Are you in an association, in a joint venture to produce something? Well, let me see something. Probably you need a frame of reference. All of us will always need a point of reference. So if you need a point of reference for the brand you are now producing, well, there is a very nice way to do it. This is Young Rubricam. Rubricam. These guys have been in the market for several years, and they have this specific product, which is the brand asset evaluator or valuator. Your book will say evaluator. It's not evaluator. It's valuator. You put in the brands you want to compare, and they will give you this map, perceptual map. So you have here Nissan, Honda, and Toyota. And in the vertical axis, you have brand strength. Horizontal axis, you have brand stature. And you see the square, which is Nissan, is below the two of the others. Actually, brand stature, Toyota and Honda are the same at the same level, but the strength of Toyota is higher this year. You can compare your marketing offering here. This is a very acceptable reference. You compare your marketing offering, you decide your niche, and so you bring your investors. You see, this is the way you do it. Now, very fast. Let me finish this very fast. Okay. So, just remember, you have that is to estimate a brand value. Okay, this part, the brand value. But now, well, you have an idea about the brand value of others. So now you have to take the decision. How are you going to make it? Well, you have to start by the brand positioning, and to do a brand positioning correctly, you have to have very well defined the product attributes, the benefits you are giving to your customers, and the beliefs and values of your marketing offering. And that's the reason of the example of Disney. Disney goes for the beliefs and values, and that's how they position themselves. They don't have competitors, strong competitors, and that the way they make it. Let me run this last slide before entering into something. Let me see. No, let me finish this part. It's very straightforward. Now, when you are getting your brand, so a good brand, just pick one brand in your mind, will give you suggestions about the benefits and qualities it will deliver to you. It's easy to pronounce, recognize, and remember. My name really is a bad name because nobody can pronounce my name. Nobody can spell my name. It's awful. But well, my grandfather was Ignacio, so it really sucks when you are moving around people who speaks French or English. Nobody can pronounce it. So, for example, probably Oscar, same name in Spanish, English, and French, even in Italian, and even in German. Easy to pronounce. Same thing, just think about a name that you could easily pronounce in other languages, that find out a name like that for your brand. Distinctive, extendable. Extendable means that becomes a brand of something bigger than just an Apple. Macintosh became a well-known line of actually the brand before. It was before Apple, it was Macintosh, and their line of computers was Macintosh, and that disappeared and became Apple. Well, probably you don't know this, but Apple's brand Macintosh were sold on the 40s, in the 50s in the US. That was a brand. What this guy did was just take the brand, the package, and repackage the image. And now Apple is, believe it or not, a computer. Now, and capable of registration. This is very important. You pick the name, you love the name, you dream about the name for, believe me, weeks. I have the name. You go to the public registry because you have to register your brand. It's taken. Oh, it's so frustrating. you really want to cry. Believe me, I have passed through that process like 10 times. So you have a name, check if it's available. If it's available, register it. Probably it's not a good name, but probably it's a good name. You don't know. You already have it. Now, last 2 slides. Just bear with me. Manufacturers brands. You have some options. Sponsorship is how are you going to play in the market. Manufacturers brand. So you're Procter & Gamble and my brands are Procter & Gamble. Well, actually no, because they have other brands such as Tide. So probably Prisoners, this brand of no, I have to think about a generic name. I will give you an example. The book, I don't remember the example that gives you the book, but the thing will have the same name sometimes of your company. Easy, well, easy, very easy. Bio used to be the line of computers from Sony. So Bio is their brand, is the manufacturer's brand. I was getting, I don't want you to confuse that if you are just doing the ensembling things, that actually is not your brand. Well, actually it is. The way you are ensembling things could have a copyright. So as it happens with computers, so that brand Lenovo is the brand of company X in China. It's not IBM anymore. So this is the manufacturer's brand. The private brand is the Walmart's brand, Kohl's brand. Why is that important? Because, for example, in Kohl's, 25% of their sales are accounted for by their own brands, the house brand, which is kind of free brand, but it's not free brand. It's the proprietary brand of the chain. That brings you a lot of advantages. Nobody can compete with you because that's your own brand. You can go for franchises, which is the licensed brand. In the case of McDonald's, you want one McDonald's is 1 million, only the name, plus all the hardware you have to buy, the place, the land, the construction, all the equipment, that's a part. The name is 1 million. And the co-brand is you agree with somebody to start producing one brand that will be devoted to one specific market. And last. So these are the options you have. You have a brand name, a product category. So you have a line extension or brand extension. You have multi-brands. It will depend if your marketing offering is new and the brand name is new or is existing in one of those cases. So I suggest you go to the book, read this part of the chapter. This is very important because we'll tell you, probably you will come up with a new marketing offering. You don't have much money, but you come up with a marketing offering. The marketing offering was good, a new way to serve coffee inside of the retailers, a new way to do that. So, well, it's a new brand. You registered your brand, you have a new brand, and if you go for a conjoint, for a joint venture, probably so Ridley's will accept your marketing offering and will allow you to establish inside of a Ridley's, the coffee shop. So this is a co-investment, and for them, it's a new line. It's just something new for them. And based on this matrix, you have different options, different strategies to follow. I'm sorry I took so long. This chapter is very exhaustive and is very important for you. Just please go through these slides, go to the chapter, read the chapter. And remember, you have homework for this weekend. And if I remember well, is the mini simulation, or I don't remember which one is this one, but it's this weekend. Okay, I changed it. Remember, it was for last weekend. It's for this weekend. So please do your job, and in general, you are doing well. So just keep doing it. Don't put it aside. Try to concentrate. It's a nice stuff. It's even if you don't like the class, read the book. The book is really good book, and you need this not only to pass the class, but also to, believe me, doesn't matter where you, where you will be. This is important stuff. Any question before we close? Any question? No questions? Okay, guys. So see you on Tuesday. Please don't forget your homework. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.